Hey guys, how's it going? So I thought I'd go live on this channel, and it's about 1 in the morning Eastern time. A lot of you are probably asleep, so maybe you'll watch it tomorrow. But I stayed up most of the night last night, like a lot of you did. Went to bed and saw Trump winning in many key states, such as Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona. We're a toss up, but still well within play. But mainly, let's focus on the Midwest: Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and my state of Michigan. And I looked pretty closely at the maps and I said, well, hold on, there's Wayne County. So I looked there. I said, well, about half of Wayne County's reported so far. It's going to go heavily for the Harris Biden administration, but certainly they're not all going to vote. And I looked at the votes and I felt pretty good about Michigan when I went to bed, more like this morning instead of last night. And I saw Pennsylvania sitting there stuck at 64%, like a lot of you probably did. And it just seemed like, Trump was probably going to win. And I still think that he probably did win. Now, I don't want to start any conspiracies. I just want to bring up some things that I've seen and see what you guys think about it, because it just doesn't seem quite right. And sometimes when it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it does end up indeed being a duck. And I've gone through and I've looked at some of the recent news here in the last few minutes and some of the polling results, and I don't really know if we need to look at the numbers right this second, because let me make this crystal clear. This election's not over. Trump has not been able to declare a victory, even though I have a feeling if circumstances were different, if things were a little more on the straight and narrow, I think Trump would have been able to by now. But keep in mind, Biden's not been able to declare victory either. And I'll just cut to the chase. We're not going to know the actual legal winner of the president of the United States until December at this point. It's just the way it's going to be, because first they have to go through and certify the votes. That's going to take some time for sure. And then the Trump administration, or the Trump campaign rather, not the administration, let me correct that, has already announced that they're going to sue in several states. So we're looking at lawsuits in Pennsylvania, I know, Wisconsin, I believe also Georgia, Michigan. So unfortunately, we're not going to know the results for quite a while. But I knew we were in trouble, and a lot of you guys did too. And I mean we, I don't just mean like a Trump voter. I just mean the country and a fair vote. I knew was in trouble. Back when they call it many things, guys, probably 30, 40 things, so many things I can't even count, but I call it the Kung Flu. Seemed like it conveniently hit the United States on an election year. And they got everybody so scared that they had to vote from home, mail-in ballot. See, seems like this stuff always happens on election years, time and time again, doesn't it? So the flu hits. People got sick. I get it. The sickness itself is real, but why did the sickness come to the United States? Was it because somebody that was too poor to eat in China ate one of the bats from a research center? Oh, it's possible, right? You guys can decide that. Or was it here because of the elections and many other things? Is it here because most countries and many countries in the world want to fundamentally destroy the United States of America? And they want us to be just like them, even though I don't want to be like all the other countries. There's fine people living in these other countries, but you know what? This is the United States of America, and we don't want to be like the rest of the world. And we don't want to be like China. Now, I've watched Europe go into these draconian lockdowns. Seems like a lot of them want to be like China. I don't know. This is what it looks like to me. I saw the governor in my state of Michigan try to turn Michigan into something similar to China, where she locked down the state of Michigan. You couldn't buy seeds for your garden. You couldn't go out on a boat unless it was a rowboat. Unless you were her husband, then you could go yachting, sailing. You could do whatever you wanted if you were the governor's husband. But if you weren't him, you were locked down. I know I couldn't cut grass for the first 6 weeks. of the mowing season. And what does this have to do with election 2020? Well, I think it has about everything to do with election 2020 because somehow, look, I'm not smart enough to know exactly how it happened, although I'm not surprised because I've seen them chipping away and going for this. They call it the reset. They call it the New World Order. They call it so many things. I guess I'm not surprised, but I don't know exactly how it happened except for they've been working on it for a while. They've somehow been able to change a lot of things in America just in the last several months. They've gotten people where they're scared to celebrate holidays together. They're scared for birthday parties. I know the thing now for a lot of the kids is the drive-by birthday party where you set a present out at the curb. I mean, let's face it, I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm not saying I swallowed the black pill, guys. I'm not trying to be too negative, but let's face it, we've lost a lot of traditions, customs, and normalcy in this country just in several years from a flu that came from China. China that said they would take over the United States without ever firing a shot. That's what they said. Are they in the process of it? Have they? I don't know. I hope not. Now, this is where this election started to come into play. I'm just setting the stage that our country somehow fundamentally changed a lot. Now, for me, it hasn't. Hopefully, for a lot of you, it hasn't. I still look at myself as an American. I resist the lockdowns. I resist the orders. I've been to as many rallies and things that I could in the Lansing Capitol. Been to as many as anybody, trying to fight back, trying to put some pressure back on the government. But a lot of people were all too willing to go along and seemed they were all too grateful for the orders of the Michigan governor. Appears the state of Pennsylvania, another swing state, much of the same with the Governor Wolf over there. Maybe not quite as bad as Gretchen, but pretty darn close from what I hear from my friends that live in Pennsylvania and many other states. Well, they came out with, we've always had what's called absentee ballot. If you have a reason and your signature's on file, you can apply for an absentee ballot, right? Maybe you're too sick to make it to the polls. Maybe you're going to be out of town, traveling, right? It's called absentee ballot. There's a much more rigorous process that goes along with that. But then in Michigan and many other states, they said, well, we're going to do mail-out ballots, meaning the ballot just shows up at your house. And they were sending stuff to my house like crazy. And then when we didn't fill it out, because I wasn't going to give into that game, I voted in person, by the way, on purpose, 25 minutes before the polls closed, 7:35 p.m. in Michigan. I voted. Now, everything looked 100% on the up and up in my local precinct. I live in a very small township. In a very small town, it's a little blip off the map in rural southeastern Michigan. Everything looked pretty good to me there, but I wanted to vote at the very end, so I was basically walking out the doors, just seeing how things looked to see if I saw anything weird, and fortunately I didn't in my local precinct, right? So I voted in person, but I'll tell you what, I kept on getting things from the Secretary of State Benson, she's called. She's a real beauty, just like the governor, just like the Attorney General of Michigan. Kept on getting things over and over again. They just kept mailing me these things. You haven't mailed in your ballot. Would you like another ballot? Would you like more ballots? Here's more. I mean, I have this stack of envelopes that I didn't even have time to open all of them from the state of Michigan, that my taxpayer dollars and any of you other Michiganders paid for those. The roads are still terrible. She ran on fixing the roads, and she has not done that, but she made sure the governor, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, they're all in on this together. They made sure there were plenty of ballots mailed out to people and reminders. Make sure you mail it in. It almost seemed like to me that vote early and vote often and vote as much as you can. I mean, they just kept sending me stuff. Did any of you guys have that in your state or in Michigan? So that's what set the stage. The mail-in ballot, the mass mail-out ballot, where people who wouldn't even go through the effort to get off their couch or out of their basement to go vote, well, it's right in front of them. And there were many organizations, I would note Democrat organizations, that were more than willing to help people fill out their ballots, to give people advice on how to fill out a ballot and what's all entailed, if you know what I mean. Now, this is just my opinion, but I feel there's probably a lot of times where they said, all right, here's how you fill out the ballot. See that circle there next to the Biden? Well, it's the Harris-Biden administration, but it technically said Biden-Harris. See that? So if you want to vote for them, you'll just fill it out right there. See? You guys think that might have happened just a little bit? I don't know. Now, let's fast forward. So there's the mail-in ballots, right? Now, there's been contractors involved in collecting these ballots, drop-off places, collections, where they actually go out and not just, here's your ballot, you have to take the effort to turn it into the county clerk or your township hall. Oh, no, no. No, we're talking like collection, right? Ballot harvesting, it's called. Lots of ballot harvesting happened. And we all knew this months ago. We said, why else would they possibly be setting this up other than they want some type of fraud, shenanigans? You can call it whatever you want. And I'm like, well, of course. And here's what I basically said. Here was my election prediction. I said it's going to come down to the Midwest, literally. It's going to come down Wisconsin, okay, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Now, that assumed that Trump would take Florida, and he did, okay? That Trump would take North Carolina. They still won't call it, but in my opinion, he did. That Trump would take Georgia. Still won't call that either, but in my opinion, he did. Now, Texas, they said it was in play. I didn't really think it was, so I was giving him Texas the whole time. So here's what it's going to come down to. Wisconsin, I was a little less. I said, I think probably, maybe. I think Biden has a better chance of taking Wisconsin. It's going to come down to Michigan, Pennsylvania, and how much they can cheat. And that's what I said. I posted it in some comments. I told some friends. I know I told my wife that. I said, really, it's going to come down to these swing states and how much they can cheat in them. And look, I'm not a genius. I'm not psychic. You guys probably already knew this. Here's what happened to me in Michigan. And I know some of you guys don't live in Michigan, but hey, look, if he had Michigan's 16 electoral college votes, things would be looking a lot better. So even though I happen to live in Michigan, it matters because it was one of the main states where something funny might have happened. So I go to bed. He's up 6% in Michigan. This was at like 4 in the morning. It hadn't moved an inch. There weren't any more votes coming in. They said, well, we're done voting for the night, which was weird, but whatever. I'll get to Pennsylvania in just a second, guys, because there's a lot more shenanigans there, too. Trust me, a lot more. So I went to bed. Trump was up by 6%. John James, United States Senate, was up over the incumbent Gary Peters by about an equal margin, maybe 5.5%. And I looked and I said, well, half of Wayne counties voted. It's going to go predominantly Harris-Biden, of course, but it's not going to be 100%. It's not going to be 100%. So I kind of looked and I said, okay, well, basically the only way I'm going to wake up and see Harris-Biden administration in the lead is if like all of Wayne County, like 100% of the votes from here on out go blue. But that's not going to happen because the first 50% they counted, right? It was advantage Democrat, but it was a split. I think it was about a 60-40 split, in fact. So I said, all right, if it goes 60-40, if they pull a few more from Genesee County, etc., I'm going to wake up to find out that Michigan's been declared for Trump. But something interesting happened in the middle of the night. Very early morning, actually. People tried to wait it up all night. I was watching the Steven Crowder live stream till about 4 in the morning, right? I tried to wait it out. But finally they said, look, just go home. We're nothing to see here. It's over. We're going to bed for the night, and then we'll pick it up in the morning. It's like, well, okay, that's a little weird, but I guess. Now, there's nothing I could really do about it. I was just watching it like the rest of you, right? And then all of a sudden, over 100,000 and something votes come through in the wee hours of the morning. And they call it TCF Center. It's more known as Cobo if you're from Michigan. They comes into Cobo, right? And all of a sudden, like 100%. Now, I'm rounding here. I'm not trying to exaggerate, but virtually, essentially, 100% of those votes just come through from Biden. Now, the first half they counted, it was a 60-40 split. All of a sudden, it's 99. Okay? 0.5% or something crazy like that. I might be slightly off on my numbers, guys. I'm using my memory. I don't have a cheat sheet here. But virtually 100% of the votes in the wee hours of the morning came through. Now, I would note from watching Steven Crowder's stream earlier today, he had a lawyer friend of his lawyer, his Bill Richmond, one of his friends, it's a lawyer in Texas, was in Michigan helping out the Trump campaign just to make sure, poll watchers they're called, people that are going to make sure there's no shenanigans or funny business going on. And you know what they saw in Michigan going on? Now, these poll workers, they come in and they work from what I understand, I've heard 4 hours, I've heard 6 hour shift. So let's say at most they work about 6 hour shift. They were seen bringing in coolers, large coolers, like big, like that would feed a family of 4 for a week, bringing these coolers in to Kobo. Now, they said it's for their lunch. Look, guys, I go out there when it's 95 degrees and I have enough waters and my lunch and my coolers, it's a decent sized cooler, but these were coolers where it's like family of 14, eating out of it. They were bringing coolers in. There's also documented a radio flyer wagon coming in. Now, right about that time, there was windows where you could see. Because keep in mind, this Kung flu, let's go back to that again, because it has everything to do with what's going on here. You guys can decide for yourselves. Was it that because of the Kung flu, the election's rigged, or did the Kung flu exist so they could rig the election? That's essentially the two questions, if you ask me. I don't think I'm being conspiratorial. I think those are obvious questions to ask. You guys can answer that for yourself. No doubt you guys will have different opinions on that. However, with this flu, social distancing, masks, you guys know what I'm saying, can't get too close. They said, well, you have to be behind this glass. Then all of a sudden they start putting up paper over the glass to block it. Wait a minute now, poll watchers. They're there to watch to make sure everything's on the up and up. Now, first of all, they're making them stand, as reported, 60 feet away. Now, how are you going to see if those ballots, if there's shenanigans going on when you're that far away? Now you're behind a piece of glass. Well, before you know it, they start putting paper up over it. Now, the attorney for Detroit is saying, yeah, I told them to put the paper up. Oh, really? Of course he has a reason. They always have a reason, don't they? He says, well, we put the paper up because people were taking photographs, which is inappropriate. I don't know. All I know is I've seen video footage of them bringing in the coolers, the wagons. I've seen pictures of the paper up. Okay, so we have proof that happened. But I don't see any proof of people taking pictures. So we'll see. We'll see. So that was going on in Michigan. Now, all of a sudden, just put all this together, right? So the stage is set perfect. There's these mass mail-out ballots. If you need help, don't worry. The Democrat Party will help you figure it out. They'll collect it. It's called ballot harvesting. They'll harvest. Yeah. A certain county, no doubt, a Democrat-leaning, very strongly Democrat-leaning county, Wayne County, also Michigan's biggest county. It was pulling for Biden, it no doubt was. And no doubt, if he would have kept trending, if Biden's votes up until all these shenanigans started happening in the middle of the night, wee hours in the morning, no doubt, it would have kept trending a little more towards Biden. So say I went to bed with Trump up 6%, 6 points. I'm like, you know what? I bet you Biden narrows it down to 4 points, maybe 3, maybe even 2. That all seemed reasonable. Maybe somehow, Hail Mary, he'll narrow it down to like 1.5. The only way he could have beat that 6-point spread is if all of a sudden virtually everybody, like statistically everybody, just started voting Democrat in the middle of the night. And it appears to me that they actually did. It appears that over 100,000 votes just came right through. And all of them were Democrat. But earlier in the day when there were actual more poll watchers and things seemed to be, now they probably weren't even completely on the up and up then, but they were at least a little bit on the up and up earlier in the day. Then it was about a 60-40 split, which is often what you see in a deep, Democrat or Republican area. You'll see about 60-40, once in a while 65-35. Now, this is the other thing. I know this is just anecdotal, but I have to bring it up because I live in Michigan. When you drove around any of the suburbs or countrysides of Michigan, all you saw is Trump signs. And when I say all, 99%. So many more yards having them than ever before. I drove around some of the big cities too in the last couple weeks. And no doubt when you got into downtown Lansing, Detroit places, you started to see some more Biden signs. Of course, these are heavy Democrat strongholds, if you will. But I saw a lot of Trump signs, even in the urban centers, the areas that are supposed to be drastically going Democrat. I saw more Trump signs and more John James signs than I had seen in 2016. So just boots on the ground type of thing. All the signs in the yards were definitely pulling more towards Trump. The rallies, went to the Lansing rally, Waterford. I mean, all these different rallies going on in Michigan were insane. Like Trump even said himself, like, how am I getting this many people? I don't even have a guitar. Meaning, like, this was like a sold out rock concert. 30,000 people, 40,000 people, 50,000 people at these rallies. More people outside of the rally in a lot of cases that couldn't get in. Again, I'll be honest, that's just anecdotal. I get it. But and then there were all the people that were voting for Trump in Michigan that were afraid to put their sign out because no doubt we've had what they call mostly peaceful protests, but I call them riots throughout the whole year that have gotten a lot of people scared to actually show their patriotism or show their candidate that they want to vote for. And again, I never told anybody that they had to vote for Trump. I did make the case on my other channel, though, in a couple-hour live stream, talking about the Harris-Biden administration gun control that would no doubt ensue. And, hey, Rob, man, if you could help me out and if there's something that's not inciting violence or nothing completely crazy, if you could approve it, because they block stuff. So I think I just gave you a wrench there. Hopefully you can help me a little bit. Yeah, so anyways, there was the secret Trump voter that was supposed to be a big thing. Well, guess what? There was all the outward Trump voters, all the secret ones. Didn't matter, because it seems like to me in the middle of the night, when the coolers, Coleman coolers, Igloo coolers started rolling in, when the radio flyer wagon came in. What do you guys think? Does that sound right to you? Seriously. Think about it for a minute. Does that even sound right? No, I get it. They work 4 to 6 hours. They need their lunch. So they bring in the big supersized cooler, right? So here's what's going to happen. The Trump campaign is suing to try to change the way some of these votes came in and were counted in Michigan, basically saying anything that we couldn't supervise being counted, right? They call them poll watchers. This is a legit thing. Recount them, see if any of them need to be disqualified, right? He has every right to sue, and I'm glad that he is. Now, I would know Jocelyn Benson. Do you remember her? I talked about her in a couple of previous videos. She's the one that said, I'm going to ban open carry of firearms during voting, which got shot down by the Court of Claims. She appealed it. The 3-panel of judges in the appellate court, they denied her appeal. The Supreme Court of Michigan chose not to hear it. So by default, the original Court of Claims judge that threw out Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's gun ban, that was so unconstitutional, insane. But it got thrown out. None of those signs were on the doors. So we could have won that one. However, when you thought it was just as bad as the fact that Trump right now appears, if you just look at the numbers that the AP is reporting, fake news, blah, 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 XYZ. Let me emphasize appears, guys, because I think there's a lot of fakery and a lot of fraud going on. It appears that Trump has lost Michigan, but it's not just Trump, because it also appears that John James has lost to the incumbent, Peters. completely gun control, completely just follows in line with all of the New World Order, Democrat, globalist agenda. Also, another tragic thing happened in Michigan. The Michigan Supreme Court, which had a one-seat conservative or Republican majority, it just swung over to the Democrats. You had McCormick keep her seat as the Chief Justice, and then you had the other Democrat, which was, I believe, Welch was her last name. I always get it mixed up. It's Welch or Walsh. It's late, guys. She won. Now, I imagine a lot of these mystery ballots that showed up in the middle of the night, in the cooler, in the wagon. Nothing to see here, guys. Go home. We're just going to put paper over the windows to where you can't see in. Remember, back to that Kung Flu. I started the stream off like that for a reason. Social distancing. We have to worship the virus. Look, Kamala Harris was not. Kamala Harris is not his running mate. Here's how this works. Kamala Harris is the one that was truly running. We all know that. Joe doesn't know where he is. Who am I? Where am I? I'm Joe Biden, and I'm running for the Senate. She was running, and her running mate was the Kung Flu. Think about it. She ran along with the flu of China, from China. That I'm not sure who loves it more. It seems like the Democrats, a lot of them, at least Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Governor Wolf and many others. Man, they love that virus more than President Clinton loved the free trade with China. So there you go. Right now we have a bunch of shenanigans and weird stuff going on, and rightfully so, there's lawsuits going on. Right now, the fake news, the AP, they have not quite yet declared victory for Biden on paper, but they're basically giving you all the excuses and reasons why. That the Kung Flu of China with its running mate, Kamala Harris, will be the next president. Do you guys realize what just happened here? Literally, a China virus, this flu. I was on the stream with Catherine Henry the other night, great friend of mine. I want to talk about her again soon, how she was detained, arrested, then let out pretty quick, and I think they messed up pretty bad, but I don't want to give too many details on that yet until I get the clear from her, but she was locked up and detained, cuffed, manhandled. Looked like a disparity of force to me just from what I could publicly see. That's what they're doing to patriots right now in Michigan. Anyways, the appropriating of this Kung Flu. It's huge. It's pulling above. It's more popular. It's more loved. In Michigan, Pennsylvania, possibly it appears Wisconsin, than almost anything else. I don't know. I might have been wrong in what I said earlier. What do you guys think? Was it Harris with her running mate, the flu? Or was it the flu with the running mate, Harris? Maybe we should put the flu at the top of the ticket. Flu 2020. And it appears with all the shenanigans, all the rigging, probably, in my opinion, from what I've seen, good chance of fraud, at least enough that I'd be suing over it if I was the campaign, the Trump campaign. Did the flu just get elected to the president of the United States? Just think about that. I know a lot of guys that have much better channels than mine and they're smarter than me. They keep saying, well, yeah, due to, they call it so many things, due to this flu, that it changed it and made it to where the Democrats could win and where they could cheat. Yeah, I think no doubt that's true, but I'm going to take it a step further, guys. I literally think the flu just won the presidency of the United States unless, and I still have some hope, guys, unless they can expose some of these shenanigans and Trump can win some of these lawsuits and get some of these votes recounted. But like I was saying earlier, Catherine Henry, she's an attorney. I was watching one of her streams. An attorney and my friend and a patriot in the state of Michigan, and one that's, there's only one of her, but she's trying to help Michigan because that's where she lives and the whole country, hoping to inspire a lot of you guys in your states of what it's like for grassroots activism. And she did a thing comparing, and this was from the CDC, not like from her or whatever. She was reading down the CDC all the symptoms between this Chinese variant versus the regular flu. And they all had the same symptoms except for this special Chinese flu that just possibly became president of the United States. You lose your taste and your sense of smell. Other than that, they're about the same, except for with children, the Kung flu affects them way less than the regular historical influenza A's and B's, which actually tend to get younger children and even teens and adolescents more sick than the special. We'll call it flu 2020. The flu that won more electoral college votes, with Democrats helping it, than any election of all time. Okay, let's go over to Wisconsin. How is it that I've heard, and some of you Wisconsin people chime in, okay? I know you probably already said this. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat, guys. I thought there was going to be 3 people in here. How's there 37 people in here? This is on my B channel, but I'm glad to see you guys here. Look, I tried to stay up all night again tonight, and I'm not going to stay on much longer, guys. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to come up with my analysis for the people. This is my analysis. You're getting it right now. I'm going to go over a few more specifics. I'm going to go over a couple things in Wisconsin that don't seem right. I'm going to go over a bunch of fake news stuff with Arizona. I'm still going to cover something in Pennsylvania that literally makes me just, like it makes your skin crawl. It's so shady, right? But this is my analysis. Like, I'm either the stupidest YouTuber there ever was or the smartest. I don't know. I'm neither, guys. You know what I'm saying, though. Trying to have a little fun right now. And I have to try pretty hard because I literally believe the Kung flu has the highest approval rating in this country, and quite possibly the flu was just elected president, and the people love it, and they can't wait for it. And they're going to beg to be locked down like they never even thought possible. Now, it's kind of amazing that they don't look to Europe right now, how hard they're locking down, and their economies are in shambles, and all the people are fleeing the big inner cities, the big urban areas as fast as they can in places like France and such. And a lot of Europe, don't let them fool you, a lot of Europe is literally right now on the verge of becoming third world countries where there'll be more people living in the woods, scavenging, nomadic, starving to death. They're literally doing this, guys. Have you seen it on TV? They're in the big cities, okay? They're just running away. Like they're just grabbing the stuff on their backs because the lockdowns are so bad. And they're just like, we'll just take to the woods and become a nomadic people, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly what they're thinking, but that's what it appears they're doing. We're possibly going to have Europe just, as you could say, a little bit better, or even a little bit worse than the Stone Ages here soon over this flu. But it's wildly popular there. And even the, quote, conservative leaders, right? Even the prime minister over there that was supposed to be conservative and such a good guy, Brexit, all this, right? The British prime minister, he's even all for it. They're all for it. As well as Harris, Biden. They just can't get enough of this flu. And it's literally insane. So that's my take. Is the flu won the presidential election. Well, the flu and its sycophants, etc., right? The problem is they just keep testing more and more and more people. And you just keep putting more and more nines on it. Originally, they said you have a 99% chance of survival. So they tested more. 99.9. Okay, 99.99. Now it's like so much stuff. This is just a reoccurring theme in 2020. I never even used to talk like this, but until 2020, which is either the beginning of the new world, the reset, or it's the beginning of the end. I don't know. You guys can decide. Now everything has like so many names you can't even remember all of them. Well, that's where we're at now with this flu. Now I think there's a 99.99999999999. Oh, he got 1 9 wrong, guys. Fake news. There's so many nines you can't even count it. Is what I'm trying to say now. Chance of survival for children, but they're still having to do schooling from home. But we're still paying taxes to the public schools. Did any of you guys get a refund? Here's your $10,000 check from your local school district, because that's how much the state gives them per pupil on average in Michigan anyways. Did any of you guys get that check so you could buy some 9mm ammo that's now $1 a round. I've even heard $2 a round. And if you think it's going to go down in price, I don't think so. I think we're going to have ammo shortage 2021, 2022, 23, 24. Until they can just ban it outright or add so much tax to it, there won't even be any point of buying it anymore. I don't know. So yeah, that's my official analysis. But there's some more shenanigans going on. How come I saw there was a county in Michigan, and I think Jane was talking about it. Was just talking about it a little bit ago. Ryan Barber did not get the check. What's up, Seven Wonders? How you doing, man? Where's Seven Wonders? Hold on a minute, guys. Here, I got a couple of you guys now. Just to help me out. These are some guys I've known for a long time. If you guys don't want it, let me know. I'll take it away. But Brastard and Seven Wonders, if you guys just want to help me out a little bit. You guys know what a troll is if you see it. But I'm open to free speech. Just no direct threats of violence. And if they're just going to spam the chat, get them out. Other than that, whatever. I don't care if they agree with me, right? There was a county in Michigan that Jane, Allegan County. There you go. Thank you. That usually goes like 80% Republican, and somehow it flipped the exact opposite for Biden. So it looks like the flu won that one. Well, and the Democrats, of course. Now, when I say Democrats, look, I know there's probably someone watching this. They're like, dude, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a cheater, okay? I'm a Democrat, and I even voted for Trump, somebody might say. I'm not talking about you. When I say the Democrats, you know what I mean? The machine. I mean, again, they call her so many things I can't count. The governor, Witless. I'll just call her Witless, just because it's a family-friendly show. But they call her so many things I wouldn't even utter on here. We're talking like the Witless, Jocelyn, Dana, Nussel. Yeah. Jocelyn Benson, who had the audacity. I was talking about her a little bit earlier, right? And I said how she was going to try to ban guns unilaterally from voting polls. Like she could actually enact gun control, right? One of the most frivolous things I've ever even seen a Secretary of State try to do. Now, lucky we still have the conservative majority in the courts in Michigan just a few short days ago, which now we don't. Because all those ballots that may or may not have come in on the radio flyer wagon or in the lunch boxes also flipped the Supreme Court of Michigan over to Democrat. But I digress. She had the audacity to get right on there. Breaking news, it said an hour ago. Secretary of State Benson says that the Trump campaign's lawsuits in Michigan are the most frivolous thing she's ever seen. This coming from the Secretary of State that thought she could unilaterally ban guns? Pretty scary, isn't it? Just the hypocrisy. Not to mention the fact that for the first time in my life, it used to be, do you guys remember Watergate? Okay. Watergate. Do I condone? No. Was it bad? Yes. But that was like nothing, right? That was like somebody that's like 8 years old catching the Kung flu. Nothing. Like they're fine. Like Trump said, Barron, he has it. And he's like, has what? What does he have? He has the virus, sir. Oh my gosh, I'm worried. How is he? 12 minutes later, he's fine. He's over it. There you go. Right? Watergate becomes like that when an 8-year-old or 14-year-old has it compared to what we saw. They call it the laptop from hell. Tucker talked about it. Giuliani. Tucker was the only mainstream person I saw that actually even acknowledged it. The suppression of the news. Now, normally, literally, like, he farted in church. He was up 30 points. He farted in church, and it cost him the election. That's how much of a microscope these candidates are normally under. No. Trump asked right in the debate, how did you get $3 million donation from the mayor of Moscow's wife? This is how I see it. For 2 years, $48 million, you had 18 angry Democrats. And Mueller, the swamp, Rhino, right? Going after Trump to try to find collusion from Russia. They went after him. 18 very angry Democrats. I think Trump's being nice when he calls them angry Democrats. So I'll be nice too. Went after him for 2 years. Spent 40-something million dollars. And all they found was a perfectly acceptable phone call to the Ukrainian president. And then we get this laptop that basically proves that the Biden family, has been involved in this whole siphoning, racketeering thing with not only Russia, but China. So just think about it. The Chinese virus running for president with Sleepy Joe. Where am I? Where am I? This is my daughter. This is my wife. Oh. This is my wife. This is my daughter. Look, he doesn't even know where he is. There's no way he was actually running for president. Sure got a lot of money for the campaign, though, from China. The virus of China, from China. I'm sure it's just a lot of coincidence, and it's just so late at night that I'm completely nuts. I don't know. But I do know they were bringing in coolers and wagons into the Cobo Center in Detroit. Prior to the middle of the night, before they put the paper up on the windows, it was going 60-40 split towards Biden. Then 100% of the votes, every one of them, in the middle of the night. Once the Republican poll watchers could no longer watch, then it just went 100% Biden and kept on going. Now, I thought I noticed in Wisconsin, any Wisconsin people here, okay? I thought I saw that in one of your major counties, and I'm probably going to mess this up a little bit, that there were more ballots cast in that county than there were, was it registered voters than people? So, like, there were more votes for Biden in this one county, right? One of your big counties, than there were actual voters. Did I get that right? I'm really not trying to give any fake news. It's late. This is basically just my opinion on a lot of this stuff. This is all just my opinion. You guys know how this channel is. I'm not a true reporter. Even though I do try to report the news, I'm more of an opinion guy. But I thought I literally read that there were more people that voted than there were people. DS says, I think it's because you can register to vote the day of. And maybe that's the case. I'm just bringing up stuff that looks a little bit shady. Rod Brown saying Biden's a patsy. Pelosi's calling the shots. Yeah, Pelosi. Xi Jinping. I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to laugh, guys, but I'm not really laughing because I think it's funny. Like, this would be funny if it wasn't actually so serious. So in Wisconsin, we had that going on. Now, here's what I want to know, too. It's also a little bit weird. It's all about sovereignty, Eagle One says. Yeah? Sovereignty, yeah. How's it going, Denny's Plant-Based Journey? How you doing, man? Zeus, what's up? Jane Locke, of course, my friend. How are you doing? Reptile guys? Ozark, what's happening, man? I know you guys have been in here a while. I was just, kind of going off on a little bit of a rant. Just like a lot of you guys, just sitting there doing one of these going, oh, really? Huh. Now, I've never really thought this was a good strategy, but as a strategy, have you guys ever thought about this? Remember when you were a kid, you'd be playing hide and seek. And sometimes the hardest spot is where your opponent or your friend or brother or whoever it was would go look first. So this was how I used to word it. You would do something so unsneaky, it would actually become sneaky. There was a time I was playing hide and seek when I was younger, right? Where he had to basically put his head up to the tree and cover his eyes and count to 10. Ready or not, here I come. Okay? Now, I knew what way he was pointing. So, like, there's a tree. It was a couple feet around. I was a little smaller then. I was 1 foot away from him because the second he said, here I come, he just turned around and ran the other way. He was searching all over the yard, neighbor's yard, everywhere. Literally, the second he opened his eyes up, If he would have just looked up instead of turning around, he would have seen me. I wasn't even hiding, but that was like one of the hardest times for him to find me. Do you guys know where I'm heading with this? Is it possible that they're doing stuff that's just so flagrantly in our face? Like, this is just so in our face what they're doing that it actually becomes so sneaky. Because, see, here's what we have in this country. We have so many, quote, reasonable people. Now, truly being reasonable is an attribute, and it's awesome. I'm saying the reasonable people in air quotes, and I think you guys know what I mean. We have so many, quote, reasonable people that are like, oh, no. If it was buried just a little bit deeper, then we might look into it. But this is just, what you're proposing would be so obvious and so flagrant, they couldn't possibly be doing it. Don't even think about it. Something that's been crossing my mind a lot. Actually, from the very beginning of this, when the Kung flu, that all the way up to and especially including Election Day. Is it possible? I'm just asking you guys this. Is it possible that they're literally throwing it in our face so much and bombarding it, just like, I'm getting you right now. We're just doing it right in front of you. That it actually becomes so sneaky? Because so many people have been brought up to be like, most people are good at heart. The government's probably really your friend. Huh? That they immediately say, no, there's no way they'd be capable of that. What you're presuming is so preposterous. Like, nobody would really walk into a polling place with a igloo cooler full of ballots, would they? Of course they wouldn't. So let's not even look. Let's just put paper up over the windows. Because it's so preposterous that you'd be suspicious of these wagons and coolers going in. And then someone like me says, well, hold on a minute. Maybe they put the paper up because they were up to no good with the coolers. And then the reasonable person immediately corrects me, right? Immediately corrects me and says, oh, well, come on, dude. Now you've really lost it. There's no way. You literally think that they're going to bring coolers in on camera and wagons and then put paper up and expect you not to like, look. If they were guilty, they'd never make it that obvious. So they're innocent. It's over. Biden 2020. That's it. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here at all. Now that's just in Michigan. They had to feed the children. Yeah. Yep. You sent me an email. Ozark did. Thank you, sir. I do have something real quick here from Pennsylvania. All right. Let me see if I can go over and get that. I cannot get that email to pull up right now because that's a Gmail. And I'm in this account, but I will definitely check it out. I was hoping I could read it live. Now let's go to Pennsylvania briefly. I don't know. If I blink, maybe he's down. But as of right now, as of right this second, I think Pennsylvania is still up for Trump. But they're already apologizing for it. I'm already seeing the fake news just piling it up, right? Saying, hey, Pennsylvania is going to go to Biden. And the Attorney General actually had something to say about that just a couple days ago. In fact, he predicted it. But he didn't predict it like he was a pollster. He predicted it like, since he's the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, it appears to a lot of people, he kind of said, like, I'm going to make sure this is how it ends up. And I'm going to read a little bit from an article in Breitbart right now, and then I'm going to get off in just a minute here. And John Cal, there you go. You're entitled to that opinion. He says he won 2016 talking to his base, middle and working class. I don't know. I don't agree with you. Okay, that's fine. He says whites. I don't think so. I saw a lot of Hispanics and Latinos for Trump. Oh my gosh. Saw a lot of black people supporting Trump too. But no, that's fine. I'm not going to shout down your opinion at all. I completely and utterly disagree with you, but you're polite about it. So I thank you for that. So this, according to Breitbart, demands arise for PA Attorney General to step aside. He's trying to steal Pennsylvania from Trump. According to Breitbart, I would say today, but it's technically yesterday now. Calls for Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro, Democrat, to step aside arising after he urged voters to seek election help from Democrats. Mere days after stating that, in quotes, if all votes are added up in PA, Trump is going to lose. Wow. This is coming from an actual attorney general. So this isn't like, Patriot EDU or the guy that looks a lot like him. They call him 2A EDU. It's not him saying Trump's going to win tomorrow. Like, that's different. It's not a pollster. It's not Frank Luntz saying, Trump or Biden's going to win tomorrow. No, this is the attorney general. So we're going to look right here. And I'm going to hold my phone up so you guys can see the screenshot of the tweet. Hopefully I can get it to focus in on that. And it's backwards because I'm using this. But yeah, if you guys want to see the actual tweet, I usually use StreamYard for my other channel. It's been a while. Hopefully it's not backwards for you guys, but it looks like it is. I'm not used to this YouTube software anymore. Anyways, look up Josh Shapiro if you're interested in looking at this tweet, and you'll see. Now it's in my Twitter account. Give me 1 second here, guys. Trying to get right back into this article. He says, this is his tweet, verbatim. Need help with your mail-in ballot, finding out where to vote, or something else? Ooh, or something else. Dun, 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 dun. Call the @PA Dems voter assistance hotline. Someone will answer and help you out. Call 1-833-PA-votes. Then he's got the whole graphic right there. Call the PA Dems voter assistance. They'll help you. If you just need help with your mail-in ballot, finding where to vote, or something else. I wonder if you called him up and said, sir, exactly how big is the ballot? Well, it's 8.5 by 14. What's the cheapest cooler from Walmart that happens to have an internal capacity of 8.5 by 14? Do you guys think he'd help you out with that? He might. I don't know. But that's what it says. Need help with your mail-in ballot. Now, why does he say you only can get a hold of the PA Dems? I thought the attorney general is an elected person. He runs on a political party ticket, of course, but once he's elected, he's no longer supposed to be the AG just for the Democrats of Pennsylvania, right? Like, I'm just saying stuff that's common sense. When you become the AG of a state, you're not like, I only am the AG for the Democrats. No, you're the AG for all people that live in Pennsylvania. But if anybody needed help with their vote at all, instead of sending them to like let's just say a nonpartisan or a neutral type voting organization, because I looked it up, there's many in Pennsylvania and nationwide. No, according to him, the only ones that he's recommending help you just happen to be the PA Dems. Interesting, isn't it? Days earlier, Shapiro predicted that Trump would lose the Keystone State contingent on if, quote, all the votes are added up. There's a couple ways to read that. He basically said, if you count them all, then Biden will win. I don't know. Another way people have looked at it and said, we'll just keep counting them no matter what until Biden wins. I've heard some people say that. Okay, it sounds like there's a big Wayfair cooler that's even bigger than Igloo. Look, guys. The Democrats are for the working class. They're for the poor. They're for the downtrodden, the beaten down, okay? I didn't assume they were going to buy Yeti coolers. Look, I can't afford to buy a Yeti cooler. I'm a Republican, but these Democrat voters in the inner cities, and they are poor, and it's sad because you'll find that the areas where they've been Democrat controlled the longest are the poorest areas. And a lot of them do need help financially. So I'm not making fun of poor people. Trust me. I've got a Walmart cooler out there too, that when it dies, I'll buy from somewhere else, because screw Walmart after they stop selling pistol ammunition and rifle ammunition. Someone's going to say, but they still sell rifle ammunition. Yeah. As soon as they became about ammo and gun control, done with them. But that's just my own prerogative, not yours. Reptile guys, how's it going, man? Says, did you see today they were going through and they had told all the carriers to post-date any ballots they find for the 3rd. There you go. There's just another thing. I'm going to read this chat when I'm done. Probably not tonight. I'm really tired, but I do read all of these, whether it's on this channel or my other one. I can't believe there's 40 people in here. I appreciate it, guys. If you could not be quite so stingy with a thumbs up, so maybe, because Susan doesn't like this at all. So maybe just a couple thumbs ups will help a little bit. Brastard 762, by any means necessary is one of their slogans, and they mean it. I think he's right. Yeah, Jane, I agree with you. Look, guys, we try to keep it a little clean in here, Jane. You know, I don't swear, but look, if this is Jane, let me tell you guys something about Jane. She's a sweetheart. She's a patriot. She's a Vietnam vet. Probably would beat up any of you guys here, but I don't think she would because she's actually a sweetheart, too. Jane's my friend. Cross paths with her a lot. We've hung out a lot. She's a good one, so I always want to give her a shout out. Again, though, she was in the service. She got a little potty mouth on her. But yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. You're not supposed to pick favorites. Look, I love all you guys to death, but we'll give a little extra deference to Jane Locke because you know what I'm saying, right? What do you guys say? Patriot, veteran, she's a chick, she's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, Ozark's talking, and that's fine, you know. There's a fellow in here. I don't know if he's still in here. Doesn't quite agree with us. Cal, I think is his name, but he's being polite as far as I can tell. That's fine. I've not asserted anything tonight, have I? I'm just telling you guys, if it doesn't seem right to you, surely doesn't seem right to me either. The PAAG seems to be completely and utterly out of line. When you have a high position, governor, secretary of state, attorney general, not only are you not supposed to commit any type of impropriety, right? You're supposed to not even have the appearance of it. And I would say no matter what, whether there's proven that he's technically, legally did anything wrong, just use your common sense. Does anyone disagree? He's at the very least giving the appearance that he's doing something here. So that's what's going on in Pennsylvania right now. The AG himself is guaranteed, and he's a powerful person that actually has the ability to actually impact these things. That's what's scary. If you count them all, Biden will win. Not, I think. I'm sorry. He said it the opposite way. I don't misquote him. If all the votes are added up in PA, Trump is going to lose. Not, I predict, I think. No. Trump is going to lose. He said it in the demonstrative fashion. And this is the person with the power to actually have an effect. Keep that in mind. Now, if we've got, sorry guys, my voice is going. I worked all day and not slept much. If Brastard 762, now he's a good dude. I'd rather hang out with him than any of these scumballs. But Brastard doesn't have the power to probably change the election for his state. So if he comes out and says, I'm Brastard 762 in this chat and says, if such and such, Biden's going to lose, that's different. Do you guys agree? That's different. No, this is the Attorney General in his official capacity on his official blue checkmark Twitter account saying, if all the votes are added up in PA, Trump is going to lose. He also said, need help with your mail-in ballot, finding out where to vote, or something else? Oh, just call the PA Dems. They'll take care of you. They'll help you with anything you need. They'll help you count them until Trump loses. As reported by Breitbart, and you can go to his Twitter account and grab these tweets yourself. And I thought I saw my buddy Rudy Finney in here. What's happening, man? How you doing? How you doing, Rudy? That's funny. He says, I stopped smoking crack for a month and bought a cooler. So what you really mean is you stopped hanging out with, where's Hunter? And by the way, where is Hunter? I've seen Trump's kids on TV. I've seen Trump's kids right there with their father trying to help him win. Where's Hunter? If kids did 1/1000th, probably even 1/1,000,000th of what's on that laptop that Bob Alinsky confirmed, the United States Senate committee confirmed that they can't find any fake news in it at all. That basically only in the mainstream media, only Tucker Carlson reported. Trump's kids did 1/1,000,000th of that. It would have just been a guarantee he would have lost the election because they would have spread it out. I was talking to my mom that's not real political. I'm not real political, but I guess I'm realizing I am more than most people, right? I said, what about this laptop? How the heck did this laptop from hell not persuade? She goes, laptop, what? I said, ha, 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 ha. We're talking on the phone. I'm like, give me a break. I said, the laptop. The laptop. She's like, what do you mean the laptop? Just come on, get with it, she says. I'm like, Hunter Biden's laptop? Hunter Biden? Who's Hunter? I said, come on, Mom. Do you mean who's Hunter or where's Hunter? Oh, I said, Hunter Biden. Oh, his son. What's his son got to do with this? I said, everything. The laptop. It shows a connection that there was a whole money scheme that goes all the way down through with Joe's brother, Joe himself. Where do you get this stuff from? I'm like, well, I guess. And she doesn't watch Tucker. I'm like, well, I guess if you didn't watch Tucker and she's not into social media, she didn't know. Now, my mom's not a dumb lady. A couple master's degrees, a couple more degrees. She's a smart lady. She just doesn't watch the Tucker Carlson show. I don't even know that she hates him or anything like that. I don't think that's it. She just doesn't happen to watch the Tucker show, and she doesn't do social media because she's in her 60s, and a lot of people that are even older than her do. She's just not chosen to ever get into it. She's like, I don't care for social media. So unless you were in social media and subscribe to not rhinos, but actual conservatives in your social media, or watch the Tucker Carlson show, you didn't know about the laptop. Is there any way if even just one of those videos or one of those pictures off that dreaded laptop was of Trump Jr., that wouldn't have just been plastered on CNN? They would have still been saying breaking news for the same picture 3 weeks later. So, in conclusion, here's what I think happened, guys. The flu. Look, Catherine Henry, go watch her stream from probably 3 streams ago now. The one before I was on there with her. She goes through the whole list, step by step. There's only one symptoms different in this flu 2020, the flu that's now become the emperor of the world and president of the United States, possibly, hopefully not, and the regular type A and B. Between that, the coolers in the night, more people voting in a county that lived in it in some states, boarding up the windows, nothing to see here. Pennsylvania, we're done voting for the night. We'll reconvene at 10 a.m. But by 10 a.m., Biden had gained hundreds of thousands of votes again in the night. That the Attorney General guaranteed, if you just let him count long enough, that Trump would lose. It at least has the appearance of something, doesn't it? So here's where we're at in reality. I have no faith in the election system anymore. Not that I had a lot to begin with, but now I have none. Zero. One of you guys may just as well declare yourself president right here in this chat right now. And I'd consider that just as legitimate as what the fake news says. Look, I like the Tucker Carlson show, but you know what? Fox News is basically fake news now, to be honest with you. They declared Arizona was the winner. The first. Arizona's still at play, guys. Arizona's still at play. Fox News was the one that came out there to give Biden that boost and surge and said, we have now declared that Joe Biden has won the great state of Arizona, but he didn't win it, and he may not ever win it. But will we ever even know? Will you guys even believe anything on the news anymore? I don't know. I don't know Tucker Carlson personally, so am I going to truly believe him either? Not really, to be honest with you. Except for like with the laptop, with that Bob Alinsky. I actually believe him. There's something about a guy like that. Veteran, had all of his ducks in a row, I do believe that story. But I just think Tucker's cool and he's entertaining, and I do like his show. And I think Even though I can't tell you for sure whether I should trust him or not, I do trust him more than 99% of them. But other than that, they're all fake. Will you guys even trust another election again? Will you even vote next time? I still will, and I encourage all of you too, but does it make you wonder? Because you know what I did, guys? The voting precinct is like a mile from my house, but I was out working. I own a small business, and I wasn't done for the day, but I drove an hour, essentially, even though it was by my house, where I was at that time. I drove an hour each way to vote. And to think about all of the people, the thousands of people that drove hours, people that didn't feel good, that had to get out of bed to go vote, and just all the sacrifices we make, right? All the taxes we pay to be able to vote. And I think like me and like 1,000 others of you out there, all of us giving up all these sacrifices, people like Jane and probably many others that serve their country so that we can all still vote. So what about the ones that never came back? That served their country and they never came back because they're dead. They came home in a box so we can still vote. We don't know, but it's physically possible that 1,000 of our votes could have gotten canceled out by just one of those coolers in the middle of the night coming into Detroit. And I'm not going to say for sure that's what happened, but I can't help but to think about it. Do you guys think about these things? There's people that have died literally just so you could get that one vote. You sacrificed, you paid your taxes, you worked, you drove your car so you could get that one vote. Then there were wagons and coolers coming in with the windows taped up in the middle of the night. Starts to make you wonder how much your vote matters. It makes you wonder how much you even matter. How much does President Trump matter? How much does Biden matter? Harris matter? I don't know. Does the flu? I'll just call it the Kung flu again. It's called 40 things. Maybe the flu matters more than all of it put together. And then they'll have us back to just taking stones and grinding fundamental, grain and things like that from this flu before it's said and done. And maybe that'd be a good thing. Maybe I'll get off of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Maybe we'll be happier out there just hunting and gathering again. I don't know. It's possible, though, isn't it? Sounds pretty nice sometimes, doesn't it? But until then, I'm going to say this. Technically, legally, I want him to in a way, but Trump can't right now legally declare himself president of the United States. But you know what? Biden can't either. We already know the flu won. The flu is the president of the world, of course. Dr. Fauci's probably the second most popular person in the world. But just remember, Biden can't declare either. It's called the courts. Amy Coney Barrett, everybody said she could possibly save this country. Let's see. I'm not going to count on Roberts. Kavanaugh's been 50-50 at best. Gorsuch seems okay. Clarence Thomas. Alito. ACB, I just don't know. Gorsuch, maybe. Kavanaugh, who knows? Look, guys, I'm not trying to knock it. Look, Kavanaugh's way better than who Hillary would have appointed, but Kavanaugh, I don't know. I'm not too impressed. This is going to the courts. If we're lucky, we'll find out who the official president, besides the flu, but the official president is in December. You guys watched this whole stream, and I didn't even really give you anything other than maybe just to confide in you. Just to be like, if you guys were here, I guess I'd just give you a hug if you needed one, or I'd just sit and talk to you like, man, is it just me? Or do you think this is messed up? No, man, is it just me, or is it? That's really all this conversation was about tonight. Is it just me? No, it's not just you. If I just glance into the comments here, I don't think it's just me either. So, Cassandra is saying that Catherine had another rough day today. You know what? I talked to Catherine last night. I'm not going to read her text messages. Those are personal, but yeah, I watched her video and I said, man, are you okay? Because that's the first thing I asked her. Are you okay? And I'm not going to give out any information that's not obviously publicly available on her streams, but she's hurt. She got injured. She's hurt. She's not feeling good. You can see that by watching the stuff on her YouTube channel. I was just on her stream the night before that. We were talking. She was talking about, the petitions, obviously. We were talking about an idea that we've not made public yet about some collaboration. I'll just call it that, with some people we know. Then all of a sudden the next day, I'm like, what? She's getting locked up. She's like, look, she can sit there and recite stacks of law like this. She's like the most law-abiding person I know. Arrested? Why would it be any different than that? So you see a Patriot friend get arrested? Looks like to me, by watching the publicly available footage, you guys can look at it over at the Catherine Henry channel. Looks like she got hurt. She looks like she got roughed up pretty good, just in my layman's opinion. But it's crazy. Yeah, Weston said needed the virtual hug. And here's the thing. I guess a lot of my whole little, whatever you want to call it tonight, just hanging out is all I'm doing. Might have been a little depressing, but I'm just stating the obvious. I know all you guys have at least thought this stuff. You're like, who just won? Is the Kung Flu officially the emperor of the world and the president of the United States? I don't know. It might be. It might be. Where's Hunter? Where's Hunter? Orion. What's going? How's it going, Orion Fixer? What's happening, man? You guys are good. Karen Jong-un. Ooh. Are you a Karen? As in like I need to speak to your manager, Karen? I don't know. No, I think Karen's the cool kind of Karen. What's happening? We've got Juju Beans. What's up? Michigan, I don't know. It's going to be settled by the court. Right now, Michigan, according to the AP, the Associated Press, I'm just going to call it fake news. Yes, officially. I don't know, though. Something happened at that Cobo Center. Something happened in Cobo. Como, yeah, that's another one, but Cobo. Zeus is here. What's happening, man? Glad to have you here. I don't know. I feel like this was a depressing topic, but I didn't really mean it that way. I just meant like I can't be the only one thinking this. There's someone else out there that's just like, man, something ain't right. Did the flu just win the presidency? I don't know. Jane Locke, 58,000 fellow Vietnam veterans never came back. Whew. Bet you they'd be pissed off, wouldn't they? You don't have to be a veteran to be pissed off, guys. Trust me. Everybody's pissed off right now. Yes. I'm going to leave you guys a note of encouragement. Seven Wonders, thank you for the link. He said, you probably already saw this Rudy video today. This election is far from over. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's far from over. This wasn't me trying to give a concession speech for Trump, guys. I'm just telling you. Stuff doesn't look right. This country was controlled so easily. That's what's actually freaking me out more. Like, look, I'll leave with this. There's two things here. Harris-Biden administration versus how quickly this whole country changed in just a few months. I think the country changing is actually scaring me more than these fake news election projections. So yeah, Seven Wonders, not a depressing chat. They're fighting it. They are fighting it, guys. They are fighting it. This again, one more time. This is not me just saying it's doom and gloom. It's all over. I'm not saying that. Ammo shortage is going to keep going. Ammo shortage is going to get worse, by the way, until we can figure this out. That's just obvious. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. If you see a little, don't rip yourselves off. I might get you a few, okay? Don't rip yourself off. You have to take care of your children and feed your family first. Always do that. All right, guys, I'm just looking at the chat real quick here. There's some tough choices folks are going to have to make. Rockford Ordinance says. I agree. The reptile guys. That's one thing that I'm not doing is giving up my rights, no matter who's in charge. That's when patriots have to stand up. Water the tree of liberty. That's what one of the founding fathers said. And Jose Fernandez, thank you for the encouragement. He's saying just pray. God's in control. Now there's Christian folks in the chat. There's people that don't. Look, I pray. I'm a Christian. But if you meditate, if you have best wishes, just do that right now for our country and for the president and for a lot of people. There's people freaking out about this. So whatever you do spiritually, because I believe in religious freedom, and I'd be a hypocrite if I said that I believe in religious liberty as long as you're a Christian, but you're an atheist. That doesn't work that way. When it comes to, this being a free country, you guys can be whatever you want. So if you pray, if you meditate, if you send wishes, just look out for your friends and family. I always say that. There's some people that are not doing too good right now with this. I know people that literally I call them and said, how are you doing today? They're like, I can't even talk. I'm so depressed. But it's far from over. There's the courts, and let's see. Amy Coney Barrett is what it's going to come down to. All right, guys. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. Was a free country. You knew what I meant. As long as we still have some liberties, I'm still going to treat you guys like it's a free country. You know what I meant. All right, guys. I had fun hanging out with you, and I'll be on my other channel. Do I even need to say the name of it? All right. It's called 2AEDU. It has a great llama, and I will be on that channel, I guess, in one day because it's technically Thursday morning. You guys take care. Over yet. Stay strong, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.